of a money service business. I was sharing with Mr. Holland earlier that we went through $27 million worth of currency transaction reports, one of which was completed by the fine folks at AMSCOT, and it was completed at AMSCOT, and it was completed correctly. None of the rest of them were completed correctly. I don't think that the representatives that are here are representing the people that we're actually talking about. So we want to be clear on that there is an element, as we talked about, that is actively engaged in a criminal enterprise, and thus they don't have a representative sitting here at the table.
Plant with the check cashing store, and I think that that's the most valid point brought up, and I also want to make sure that everybody understands that criminals are criminals.
As we talked about, that is actively
plant with the check cashing store, and I think that that's the most valid point brought up, and I also want to make sure that everybody understands that criminals are criminals. They broke every law, every federal regulation, every state law they could. Adding more laws, these bad actors are going to break more laws. These proposed MSB regulations, whatever they may be, they're going to break them. The only thing that it could do is harm the good actors that are actually here representing themselves.
And if we can't do what we do, if we're not allowed to cash these checks, it will go underground. I mean, these bad guys are going to get the cash somewhere. You know, at least with us, you have the records. And
I can't really let that comment lie that we've done everything we can do and we can't do anything more because we're just going to harm the good actors. There's clearly a problem with workers' compensation, a premium fraud, and it's clearly being to tamp down the harm we are seeing in the industry.
This is one thing.
I think we should just probably proceed with the presentation. Like I said, questions and discussion we'll have after, but if we could just let them give their presentation. Part of this fact-finding process is that it is just that. It's a fact-finding process to understand what the facts are, what the laws are currently as they're currently written, and how they apply to the different situations that we are presented with as the Division of Insurance Fraud, the Division of Workers' Compensation, the Office of Financial Regulation. And so if we can understand current circumstances, I think it provides us the tools to be able to make a reasoned, rational recommendation for how we can improve. So, like I said, we'll have some time for questions at the end, but I think we'll reserve the recommendations portion of this working group for the third and fourth meeting, so that when we're making recommendations, we've actually had the benefit of understanding the landscape.
If we go to the next slide, and Kenya, you want to continue on to know your customer requirements, this will be helpful in determining what may or may not be able to be done if we, as Ashley was saying, if we can get through what we're doing now.
In compliance with the customer identification program, we have developed a Know Your Customer program. And basically that details every piece of information that's needed for a customer to conduct a specific transaction. We have made special provisions for, in addition to our Know Your Customer program, a specific transaction. We have made special provisions for, in addition to our Know Your Customer, they have to provide a government-issued photo ID. We also have the stamp date photograph that is taken at the time of a business account being opened or a business check being cashed. But not only that, I mean, that is just a part of our Know Your Customer procedure where we actually take a picture of the customer when they're cashing checks. There is also the validity of the Social Security number. That is verified at the store through a third-party system, and then again through a fourth system in our compliance department. So that's a part of our due diligence that we do at the store level and at the back-end process, what he was explaining earlier. And now Russ is going to kind of got to go into the business ownership.
Further to the federal regulations that Kenya went over, there's also state regulations that we have to abide by. Specifically to business accounts, we need to verify who the actual owner of the business is before we negotiate a check. We pull the articles of incorporation off of